Sorry, you said next Wednesday?
Sorry, Sam, you were asking?
You said next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday for your history essay. No more seminars in history between now and then. I am really available though. So please ask me questions, or we can do an individual Google chat where we just walk through some brainstorming ideas. I've done that with a number of students over distance ed. It's really helpful, sometimes more so than the email back and forth, especially if you're emailing at night and I'm replying in the morning and you're not getting that till you're that evening and you reply again and I don't reply till the morning. So if you want to get some answers ASAP, let's book a time and we can Zoom together apart. Okay, questions about history. Thesis, 3 body paragraphs. That's all you need to do. Neat and tidy. Awesome. Let's move to your English essay. Again, I have bumped that due date back from today to Friday to give you a little bit of time to do some final edits. When I did your body paragraphs, I was noticing some patterns and I want to make you aware of those before you have to submit it. Ryan, did you ever check whether you could delete, I know we chatted earlier this morning, whether you can delete something if you've already submitted it and then resubmit in Edsby?
You can't delete your previous submission, but you can resubmit it.
Okay. So I will simply mark your updated submissions. And remember, I'm really marking your hard copy. So when I get your hard copy next Wednesday in both the courses I teach you, I am going to look at the date on Edsby to see that you've submitted it on time, and I'll be deducting late marks if you haven't according to that. So your online submission is important. I will also just briefly check that from the online submission, you haven't changed your essay, because that sort of defeats the purpose of that. It's distance ed, it's madness. Otherwise, you could just hand me the hard copy and we'd be done. Okay, so both essays are due next Wednesday in the pickup drop-off in hard copy form. History is just a thesis and 3 body paragraphs, which we're calling an essay for the sake of this.
I thought the English essay was due Friday.
Yes, but hard copy is due at pickup drop-off. So I will make sure when I mark it that it was in Friday in Edsby, and mark it that way.
So then for history, we don't need a title page or a bibliography?
Yes,
Or do we
you
need that as
do.
well?
You
Okay.
absolutely do. Thanks for clarifying. But you don't need to write an introduction and you don't need to write a conclusion.
Okay.
Okay. You do need to format it for spelling and grammar, 12 size font, every other line, all the other goodies, just no introduction, no conclusion, which hopefully will shave it will shave some time off of your preparation. Okay. How about I start with my concerns? That sounds weightier than it needs to be. The things that I noticed a little bit in your 3 body paragraphs, let's start there. And I'll just pull it up here. Am I sharing my screen? Can you see that I'm on Edsby English? And I'm scrolling really fast. Anyone getting dizzy? Okay. So here we go. These are just some of the things I recommend in terms of touch-ups. Okay. So can everyone see the quote or this text that starts with Mercy?
I still see a blank screen. It says like the window
Okay.
and just says untitled, and then about blank where your mouse is right now.
Okay, let me, can you see that now? Mercy is the reason why?
Yep.
Great, thanks. So I just pulled this from someone's, and again, you don't have to self-disclose here. It's all good. So I just pulled this from someone's body paragraph to give you a real life example. So it was a little bit confusing because when I gave you the handout, it didn't format it the way that or it reformatted it when I changed it to upload. so that I had said, if you have a long quote, so something longer than 3 lines, you need to cite it in this way so that your regular writing will line up along this left margin. Your quote from the book does not need to have quotation marks around it because it is set off by this indentation, the same as you'd use for a new paragraph. So you just tab each line, and each line is capitalized just the way that it is in the book. So you're citing verse the way that it is in the book. Not everyone, I think only a couple of you had long quotations. So this is how you do it. Just indent and line it up, capitalize exactly and punctuate exactly as they have it in your play, and then finish off your quotation by telling me what act, what scene, and what line numbers you have pulled this from. This is on Edsby, so you don't need to copy this down. We're just going to walk through this. What I did want to talk with you about, and I did mention it in history, is that some of you are dropping quotes like a mic drop. You're like, boom, my quote says it all, Mrs. Ong. Your quote doesn't say it all. And the point of you using quotes is for me to see that you understand the significance of that quote. So if you don't tie it in and say, this is how we see revenge play out, or this is how we know Shylock is greedy, or whatever it is that you are connecting this to, you need to connect it. And we did talk about this in our history Zoom this morning, but I wanted to make it more apparent as well in English. The other thing that I would want us to do is to set this quote up. Okay, think of like bump, set, spike in volleyball. You are setting the quote up. You want it to say and to land exactly to make its point. So mercy is the reason why the play is a comedy, and this is proven in the courtroom when, so I've made a few changes. You can just call Portia acting as the lawyer, Balthazar. You can just tell me Jessica. You don't have to tell me Jessica is Shylock's daughter. So one of the principles to writing a literary essay is assume the person reading it has read the text you're talking about. So you don't need to give me a plot summary. I've read it, but you do need to connect the key points. So here we have when Balthazar is speaking to Shylock about his views on the bond. So this is where we would want a colon or we would want a comma to set this up, okay? We want to always be introducing our quote and then summing up its significance at the end. So here, this person did very well say, this quote shows us. Again, don't mic drop it. Don't like, boom, the quote says everything. Even if the quote talks about Shylock's hatred or his desire for revenge, don't mic drop it and assume I'm going to make the connections. That's your job. And that's what you're being evaluated on. If you look at your, particularly the inquiry part of how you're being evaluated, is your ability to understand and make those connections between the significance of the quote to your thesis and your path statement for that particular. So always introduce your quote and then sum up this. You can see from this quote, except you wouldn't use the word you. Okay, so this quote shows, this quote is significant because, and then you just sum it up. So introduce it and sum it up after the quote. Questions, let's just take questions specifically about either citing long quotes or how to introduce and sum up a quote. Okay, if there are no questions, then let's move on. Some of you have forgotten that you need a topic sentence for each body paragraph. You could just go back to your thesis. If you were saying that justice is a key theme in this play, evidenced here, here, and here, then you just say justice continues to be a key theme in this scene, in this speech, with this character, whatever it is that you're proving in that body paragraph. Just go back. What did you say about it in your thesis? Just, you can use those words, you can use synonyms for those words, but you need to have a topic sentence about what it is you're proving. That's just kind of fundamental at this point in our course. So be sure that you have that. Don't include, these are just small stylistic things that make my eye twitch, so you don't want my eye to twitch while I'm marking your essay. Don't include things like etc. in your list. Just cut it off at the last list item. Either list all the specific things you think help support your point, or cut it off at the last list item and don't say et cetera, et cetera. That's just not what we do in formal essays. A lot of you had fragments and run-ons. Some of you had a lot of them. We're not going to do a grammar lesson over about subject, verb, object, but you just need to think, is this a complete thought? Take that sentence on its own. Does it have like the subject? Is there action or movement that that subject is doing? Does it make sense on its own? Just ask yourself those questions. I tried to highlight a bunch of them, but for some of you who submitted it as a PDF, I couldn't highlight things in your document, so I had to just sort of make overall comments. Again, just small stylistic thing, don't ask questions. A thesis is a place for making statements based on your study and understanding of the text. So you shouldn't be asking me, doesn't that make Shylock less admirable after this quote, or after this scene with Jessica? You're not asking me that, you're telling me that. You're saying Shylock is less admirable, or one is less sympathetic to Shylock after we hear what he says about Antonio, those sorts of things. You're not asking me questions, you're making statements. Again, just small stylistic thing, but we're into eye twitchy stuff here. So when you refer to this work, call it the play. It is in a book form, but it's a play. So it's just a small stylistic thing, but it will put me in a much better attitude if I don't see you in the book, in the book, in the book. As well, after you set this up in your introduction, where you say, in William Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice, blah, 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 you don't need to keep telling me it's Shakespeare's play. You don't need to keep telling me it's The Merchant of Venice. After you do that once in your introduction, you can just say in the play, or I experimented with one student and said, like, what if we take that in the play out? And it was a much stronger sentence without that. In the play, Antonio seems like the protagonist or the good guy, but he's actually what fuels the play forward or something. So if you take out in the play and you just have Antonio seems like the protagonist, that's a very clear, strong sentence. You don't need to be saying in the play, in the play, in the play all the time. And just remember, no personal pronouns. Anytime you have I, we, you, us, those need to go. So it sounds awkward to say one might think instead of I think, but that's what you have to say. One might think, or one would think instead of I think, because this isn't largely about what you think about the play as much as what you think about the ideas connected to your thesis and the play. So those are just my list of big and small things to edit in your essay. Of course, the choice is yours, whether you take any of those or how far you take them. If some of you don't take them and just leave your essay submitted as it is, that is completely your choice. I believe all of you will benefit from having another look and making those really small changes and then resubmitting it on top of the one you've already submitted. Any questions about your essay or how to format it or what needs to be included? So again, just review one quote per paragraph. And we've talked about how to cite those quotes from the text. Okay. If you do have questions, please email me. Again, we can set up a time and you can read me your essay or you can, what you've got so far, and we can in live time get something figured out much more quickly than we would if it was email back and forth. It's like making a phone call when you're trying to figure out a date that works for everyone. Sometimes if you just pick up the phone and call, it's actually much quicker and easier. So I'm happy to Google Chat or Zoom individually and look at your things. You just need to reach out and let me know that. Again, reach out if you feel like you are drowning. And you may need to acknowledge, Mrs. Ong, I have not used my time always wisely, and that's on me, but I am drowning. Can you help me? Is there anything you can do? Okay, I am not immune to those. It is always good to be honest, though, if that's the case. And that was all that I had for our essay. I am going to leave you in just a few minutes, but I want to whet your appetite for satire, which we are going to launch in a big way next Monday. So let me share my screen and thus share this little gem with you. Okay, I want to go back. Don't know if I can. All right, we can do this another way. We can do it this way. Oh, wait, no. You gotta see it in the big screen, yeah.
50 years of uphill climbs.
Okay, so this is Studio C. Probably lots of you are familiar with. They do some great satires at times. And this is one of their best in my mind because it has to do with To Kill a Mockingbird. So since we've watched the film and read the book, this should be hilarious. Here we go.
I can't see it.
Scout?
Yes, Atticus?
Now
Yeah, I think you need to share that screen instead of this
What?
one.
Sorry?
Share a
can't see
different
it.
screen.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
See it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Scout?
Yes, Atticus?
Now that you have your new air rifles, remember, shoot all the Blue Jays you want, but don't shoot the mockingbirds.
Why not?
Because the mockingbird only sings songs for us to enjoy. They don't steal from our gardens. They don't nest in our corn cribs. They just sing their little hearts out for us, which is why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird.
So you'd rather we just kill blue jays?
That's right.
Well, with all due respect, Atticus, that seems downright arbitrary. I mean, blue jays sing too, don't they?
The Blue Jay's song is coarse and unpleasant, whereas the mockingbird only borrows the songs of others.
Well, that seems to me a superficial distinction. We are to kill the genuine avian vocalist while sparing the plagiarist.
Look, animals, some of them we just kill as nuisances, like mice.
And hamsters?
No, hamsters are pets.
Well, a hamster ain't nothing but a fat mouse, four-legged nocturnal critter with whiskers, but we kill one and pamper the other. It's like rodent Cinderella.
Look, animals are not as nice as you think. I mean, sure, the teddy bear is soft and fluffy, but is also named by the fearsome beast hunted by Teddy Roosevelt.
So it's in memory of the bear, but named after the killer? Well, that's like calling it the John Wilkes Booth Memorial.
Now look here, that's just
Listen, Atticus, we're just saying that the dynamic of human-animal interaction is steeped in dogmatic ritual. I mean, we pretend to like our pets, but then we betray them faster than you can put a bullet through old Yeller's brain.
well, that's not true. I take good care of my pets.
So if your dog gets rabies,
Shoot it.
If your horse breaks a leg,
Shoot it.
if your cat,
Shoot it.
I didn't finish.
It's a cat.
Now look here, just because they come in a litter doesn't make them trash. That was corny, wasn't it?
but Atticus, pets are our friends.
Well, not those small yappy dogs with their kickable size and their kickable personalities. Going back to the blue jay, it's just not right for a bird to steal from our gardens.
Well, we steal eggs from chickens. Ain't we just taking the hard-earned fruit of their wombs?
Yeah, and we take the meat from pigs, and they're our friends too. Why, there's the Three Little Pigs, the piggy that went to market, and Babe from the 1995 Colt Classic.
Yes, but there's also those commie pigs from Animal Farm, not to mention the piggy bank whose voice haunts us on every Pixar movie.
Well, what about cows? We take their skins and wear them as clothes. It's like Cruella de Vil up in here.
Atticus, your lamb chops are ready.
Thank you, Calpurnia.
Lamb chops. Now, why do we have a food named after a baby animal? I mean, you wouldn't eat puppy steak or chick fillet.
I like the sound of that.
Of course you do.
Well, now, Atticus.
All right, children, you're warming down. Just don't shoot anything then. Leave your father in peace.
All right. Well, seeing as how Atticus has faced up to his ethical inconsistencies. Cat!
Okay. Some of you were trying hard not to smile. I saw that, but it's okay to smile in satire. So let's get To Kill a Mock or Merchant of Venice essays wrapped up. And again, I'm here for your questions, and we'll launch Monday with satire and parody and all of the things. So that's it for me for today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll be here if you have some questions. Okay, bye.